So you've done your research. You know you should do a 7A loan or a Paycheck Protection Program loan to help cover your payroll. That's great, but how do you do it? Stay tuned and we'll walk you through the application. Welcome back. I'm Doug Burson. I'm a CPA with Paget Business Services in Lee Summit, Missouri. We specialize in small business and individual tax returns, and so today I'm going to help you go through the 7A loan. It's a pretty easy loan. It's actually, well, as far as loan goes, it's a really easy loan, and we're going to walk through this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the 7A loan because at this point I assume you've already done your research, you know what you need to do, and if not, I'd ask you just to take a look at this video right here. We cover a lot of that, and then a lot more of this is going to be coming out as we get more details from the SBA. But for now, the important part is we want you to get your application filled out and get submitted because we want to make sure that you guys get the loan. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first of all, you got to fill out the application. So in order to get the application, what I really recommend is that you contact your banker. Call them in the morning or call them right now, depending on when you're watching this video. Get on their list, ask them what you need to fill out. The problem is that this is so new and so fast that a lot of the banks still don't know how to process it, where they're going to submit the application once they get it, and there's a lot of different, we want this, we want that. So you're really going to have to check with each bank so you can fulfill their lending requirements, because I've seen a lot of variety today as I've talked to different lenders, but the core is going to be the same for everybody, and so that's what we're going to work on. But so they should have a copy of the app and what they want, and they'll email it right to you. This is basically what the app should look like. If you go to the U.S. Department of Treasury, it's all right here and it's covered in pretty good detail, but the application looks like this. So not very complicated. So we're just going to walk through this and we're going to fill out a pretend one and help you see what it is. So for most of you watching, you're not going to be a nonprofit, a vet, a tribe, but you might be self-employed, and that would be somebody who is a Schedule C who may or may not have employees, but they would be a Schedule C, they're not an entity. For the rest of us, or even if it is you, you're going to go ahead and put in your name, but you're not going to check a box if you have a corporation or an LLC. But your name, for purposes of this, we're just going to say test business. And really, if we're going to submit this, get your caps right. Bankers don't like that kind of stuff. DBA or trade name. So most of you are not going to have a DBA or a trade name, but if you do, say we're test business doing business as Green Grass Grows, then you would put your DBA in there. Otherwise, we're just going to go forward and put in your address and your ID number. So if it's an EIN, then it's going to be 2 digits, a dash, and then 7 digits. If it's your social, well, you know what that looks like. So we're going to pretend it's an EIN. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's your 9 digits, your business phone number. Once again, try to get your dashes right. Your banker's trying to help you out. Let's try to help them make this as easy as we can. Primary contact, that's probably the person that's watching this video right now, but if you're doing it for your boss, put your boss in there. Email. All right. Now this is where it gets tricky. If you've done your research, you know a lot about this, which is your average monthly payroll. So what you're going to do is take the last 12 months, and it's going to depend on your bank and how they interpret it. Some of them are letting us just take our 2019, which makes life a lot simpler. We can take 4 quarters of 941s, we can take some earnings reports and some W-2s. Everything's clean, it's nice, it's tidy, but some banks may require you to go ahead and give them January. Either way, I would start with at least doing calendar year, and then if they want more, you can always add January. But look at what your lender asked for. If he asked for January to January, then give him what he wants. Don't cause yourself grief. It's just going to slow down the process. So give them what they want, but you're probably going to need 941s, you're going to need earnings reports, you're going to need W-2s as a general rule, and then look at the requirements to see what they need. But now when it comes to the average monthly payroll, there are things that we need to think about. And so I'm going to open up another thing here and show you how that works. HomeTreasury.gov again, COVID-19, information there. And here's a fact sheet. And you can use this as you're working through it. So what counts as payroll costs? And remember, this was on the Home Treasury, same place as the other. And I'm doing this so you guys can look at this yourself and verify in case you forget things. And of course, you can always slow roll this video and get it there too. But what counts is salaries, wages, commissions. If you have somebody who makes over $100,000, it's not that it doesn't count, but let's say a person makes $125,000 over the last 12 months. We have to cap it at $100,000. So we move the $25,000 off, and only the 100 counts towards our average. So then you would take that 100,000, and then we would divide by 12, and then multiply that times the 2.5. So it's that. But we also can add in things such as vacation pay, family pay, medical pay, sick leave. A big one's going to be your health care, if you're paying for insurance for your employees. Another one may be your retirement part, the part that your company is matching for your employees. That goes into the calculation. For sole proprietors, there's some confusion on this, and there was a brand new final, I doubt it's really final, but final guidance that says that 1099 independent contractors do not go into this calculation, because they qualify to get their own loan. And since they qualify to get their own loan, we can't be getting a loan to pay them if they're going to get a loan to pay themselves as well. So it makes sense. Okay, so back to that. So what you're going to do is add all those things up. And you're going to want to make sure that the reports that you give to the bank add up and the banker can find it so that they don't have to keep calling you, because anytime they call you, it's going to slow down the process. So give them everything nice and tidy and clean. But we're going to take that total and divide it by 12. So we've taken the last 12 months, January to January, totaled it up, divide by 12. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about that. So I've got actually a tool here that will help you do the calculation for your average monthly payroll. So I will put a post of this on our Facebook page where you can get a link to this, and it will help you. So you walk through this, and let's just take a look at it. Are you a seasonal employer? No. Were you open for all of 19? Yes. Number of months in a payroll is 12. And then we're going to look at our total salary. So let's assume, for purposes of this one, that your total salary for the last 12 months was $100,000. If you were self-employed and not a corporation, you would then also put in the net income that showed on your Schedule C on your tax return. If you are a S corporation or a C corporation, you're not going to do that, because in theory you should have gotten a payroll check which would have been included in the wages already. But if you are self-employed, you're going to want to put a number in there. So let's just pretend, for purposes of this calculation, that you are a Schedule C who has employees, and your profit for the year after paying everything was $50,000. That gives you a total gross payroll of $150,000. Now let's say that you also paid the 401k benefits on that for your employees, and your match portion came up to $2,500. So your total now is $152,000. You don't have anybody who made over 100, so we don't have to worry about it, but if you did, you could put it in there. And so what happens is, you now take the calculation, your $152,000, we divide it by 12. When you do that, you come up with $12,708.33. We multiply that times 2.5, and we get $31,770.83. At that point, we are now ready to come back to the application. And this really is the hardest part of the whole thing. Okay, so we're back on this application form, and we now know that your payroll average is 12708.33, because we just did that on our sheet. Now, to be honest, You probably don't need to mess with cents. I would just round. So let's just do that. Keep it simple. $12,708. Multiply that times 2.5. We already did that with our calculator. So that's $31,771. Round up, because remember it was 770.83. Now, number of jobs. What that means is how many people do you have on payroll each month? Not how many did you have all of last year, but on any given month, how many jobs do you actually have to fill? Because this is based on number of jobs, not a specific person. So if you have 8 employees, you get rid of one and hire another one, that's still 8 employees. So you would have, in this case, we're going to say 8. And then it asks, what's the purpose of this loan? Remember, the purpose of this loan, as based on its name, is to help you cover payroll. So you're going to choose payroll. But you're also probably going to want to choose rent and utilities, because they have now added to the bill the fact that we can use up to 25% of this. And there's a logical reason why they did it. I read on it earlier, but I'm not going to bore you with it. 25% can be used for things that are not payroll and still be forgiven. So if we get a loan of $31,771, only 75% of that has to be used towards payroll and still be forgiven. So we're going to put in our name as the owner, our title. If you are an LLC, it's a member. If you are a corporation, it's probably going to be president. If it's Schedule C, it's probably going to be owner. And we're going to say my percentage is 100%. And then you're going to put in your personal Social Security number. There we go. And then your address, which we will do. If there's only one owner, that's it. But if you have more than 2 owners, more than one owner, if you have more than one owner and they own more than 20%, each one has to be listed, and if necessary, you can attach a separate sheet to show all of your owners. And that's really the hard part. After that, it gets real easy. These, you're going to have to answer them honestly. But if any of them are yes, you probably are not going to qualify. Any business owner have a common management with any other business? If so, it's going to be much more complicated. It's going to be beyond the scope of this, and you're probably going to need to get with your CPA or attorney to help work through this process. And have you gotten an injury disaster loan between January and now? For most of us, that's not going to be the case because it's not hurricane season, etc. But I'm not saying that it won't affect anybody, but most of us, that's not going to be the case. And then we come down to these questions. Have you been indicted of these things? Look at it, answer it. Within the last 7 years, a felony or a misdemeanor. I don't know if a misdemeanor will keep you from doing it, but if you get caught lying, then it's fraud, and then they can convict you again. So do the right thing. Then you're going to say that you are a U.S. citizen. I have been told that if you can't say yes to these, you're not going to qualify. Now, I've read conflicting information on this right here as far as e-sign goes. The final regs say that you can, others say you can't, and the banks may or may not be up to speed. So to expedite your application, rather than take a chance, print this off, put your initials in each one of these blue boxes by hand, and the same with the ones down here. Put your initials in them by hand. Just make life easy. If the bank hasn't read the final regs, which they may not have, you don't want to cause your application to stall. Just do what they ask, do it by hand, and then you're going to come down. You're going to initial that these things are, you're okay with every one of them. None of them should be a problem for most of you. And that's it. That's the whole application. It's not that hard. The hard part is going to be for you to gather your payroll records. Once this thing gets going, we don't know for sure. They may require more information. The big deal with this loan, I think, is not going to be so much the application process, It's going to be maintaining impeccable records so that when it comes time 8 weeks from the loan, or 8 weeks from now, when you're trying to get this thing forgiven, that you got the records to back up what you did. Because if you don't, then this thing is going to turn into a loan and you're going to have to pay it back. So take this serious, do your records. Hope this works out for you, and I hope it was helpful. And if not, just give us a call. If you liked it, please say you liked it. It helps us. It helps us reach more people so that we can help them. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay safe.